Hi, I'm Floor, and welcome to yet another video. Honkai Star Rail is known for two things: runaway power creep and its story. The story in Amphorius has been pretty good so far, and where the story ended in 3.3, setting up for some major twists, and the revelations just keep coming. So why are so many people tuning out? Why are people just giving up on the story? Well, if you've ever sat through an 8-hour quest and thought, why does this feel like homework? You're not alone. Today, I want to make the case that Honkai Star Rail's story isn't really written for the players. It's written for the writers themselves, and that's why so many people are quietly tuning out. Let's start with the obvious, the length. Each Trailblaze quest since Penacony has gotten longer, and I don't just mean a little longer. I mean up to 10 hours of playtime, like with patch 3.0. That's longer than most Final Fantasy XIV patches, longer than World of Warcraft story updates, and you have to pay subscriptions to those games. This isn't efficient storytelling, it's indulgent. It's writers putting their love of dialogue, world building, and lore above pacing, structure, or even player attention span. And here's the thing, people do like the story, they just don't like how it's told. Go on Twitch or YouTube during patch day. You'll see people start streaming the story, and then the chat drops off. People start to leave because sitting through an 8-hour quest with slow, stiff cutscenes and walls of text isn't fun to watch. And honestly, it's not fun to play either. The view count does stabilize when the endgame modes enter their new rotations. Mock, Apocalyptic Shadow, and Pure Fiction, these are the moments people actually start engaging in the game with. Not the parts where the camera pans slowly across 3 static characters, talking about lore you'll forget in 10 minutes. HSR's dialogue is thick with technical terms, proper nouns, and philosophy-light monologues. Some characters feel like they're reading from a dissertation, not having a conversation. A lot of Amphorius is like this, but it's not endemic to it. Penacony has a lot of pretentious dialogue as well, like, why does life slumber? Remember that? There's words and phrases like memoria, memory bubble, dream bubble, and so on. And in Amphorius, there's the Dawn Device, the Chrysos War, and a host of titans and locations. There could be a lot to track, especially when delivered through paragraphs at a time. Now, let's be clear, this isn't a problem unique to Honkai Star Rail. I played other games where the writers fell into the exact same trap, where they write for their own enjoyment and not for the audience they have in mind. For example, in Final Fantasy XIII, you're thrown headfirst into a world full of Lassie, Fal'Cies, Seath, and none of it makes any sense unless you pause the game and read the data log. The story is buried under layers of terminology that the game expects you to just absorb, and the pacing, it's all over the place. Good ideas, great music, cool characters, but the storytelling is totally disconnected from player clarity. Let's have another example. Tales of Zestiria, a rather infamous game that I really wanted to be good. The themes are powerful. Coexistence, inner strength, but you spend so much time sitting through exposition-heavy conversations that any momentum just dies. The flow of story and gameplay constantly gets interrupted, so the writers can explain another plot mechanic. These are both games where the writers clearly loved what they were building, but that love translated into self-indulgence, writing for the script, not the player, just like Honkai Star Rail does. Which brings me back to Xiaoji and the writing team at Hoyoverse. They've had multiple patches to address feedback about pacing, skippability, and flow. Parts of the community have been vocal, and what have we gotten? A dialogue tree skip. That's about it. Still no option to skip full cutscenes, still no structural change, no pacing improvements, and no dialogue improvements. What improvements do I want to see personally? I highlighted it in a previous video, but we need shorter, brisk dialogue, and a lot more showing rather than telling. I don't need Ferda and Screwlo showing up at the end of a patch to exposit for 10 minutes. We need more visual storytelling. It's not a catch-all fix, but it's one way to get the storytelling on the right track. So here's my conclusion. The team knows what they're doing. They just don't care if it's fun for you. They're writing for themselves. They're writing what they want to see, not what you want to experience. And that level of creative arrogance is starting to backfire. Now, if you hang out on r/Honkai Star Rail or other communities, well, here are the counterpoints, and some of them are very valid. For example, the payoffs are satisfying. And yes, they are. The CG cutscenes at the end of major arcs are incredible. The music swells, the action hits, and when the moment lands, it lands hard. But you shouldn't have to grind through 10 hours of slow storytelling to earn a 30-second moment of brilliance. Another one is that there are real stakes, especially in Infurious. Characters are starting to die now. For example, with Trian's death. That was very meaningful. It left a mark. That's something not every gacha game is willing to do. But the impact of that moment was diluted by the pacing that surrounded it. And finally, there's the fact that the character writing is top tier. And here's something I fully agree with. This is HSR's biggest strength. Recent additions like Mighty to the earliest characters like Jing Yuan and Kafka feel complex and multi-layered. But even amazing character work can save a story that refuses to respect the player's time. In the end, Honkai Star Rail is a game written with love, but not written with empathy. And that's the problem. Because no matter how brilliant the themes are or how beautiful the payoffs might be, if players feel like passengers instead of participants, the story fails where it matters most, keeping players engaged. And that's pretty much it. What do you guys think? Are you still enjoying the story? Do the high points make up for the pacing? Or do you feel like the writers are performing for themselves instead of connecting with you? Let me know in the comments. And this has been my feelings concerning Honkai Star Rail storytelling. If you liked the video, give it a like, subscribe if you haven't, and I'll see you in the next one. Later.